Hey everybody, I'm Mike, this is Budget Guns and Gear Reviews, and you are watching the Right of the People single shot, where it's you, me, and whatever stripped my trigger today. So uncover your keyboards and fire up your fingers. Time to join the conversation. This is a Right of the People single shot. It is, what the hell is today? It is Monday, May 3rd, 2021. Got one topic only to talk about. But before we get into it, I want to welcome my partner in crime today, the irascible yet lovable Squibload. How you doing?
I appreciate the invite. Kind of interested to hear about this.
Everybody out in the chat, let me know how this is looking and what's going on with the stream, because I'm running on, I can tell already my text does not want to behave down there. What the heck? And my text is not wanting to behave. That figures. There's got to be something going on. I am running a new laptop today. I got my new laptop yesterday. It has a actual graphics card in it, so it should be good to go, but I'm still trying to iron out any technical diddlies that I might have. Looks like my text does not want to behave there, so I don't know what the issue is with this. It wants to not actually, say what it's supposed to say or whatever. Stupid thing. And I'm getting dropped frame rates detected. I'm trying to stream this in 1080p, so maybe it may work, it may not, so we'll see. But that's why you test things out before the main event, right? You do the opening act and see how it goes. I heard somebody hop in with us. We got the Pickle. How you doing? Calaveras 32 special.
Just living the life, and another 90 plus degrees Sacramento day.
Go to hell. It's raining in the 50s here. Butthole. You just had to rub that in, right?
Yeah, that's where by midweek it's supposed to be, I think they're saying the high for the week is supposed to be like 97 or 98, so.
Whew. Mads, it looks like it's dropping every now and then. Now, is it dropping? What are we hearing here and what are we seeing? Because ultimately, this is for you guys, not me. So, yeah. And what I'm seeing, I'm not really liking. I might have to drop it back down to 7 at the higher resolution today, right? Out in the chat, we got Squibload out there pulling double duty. Jacob S. in the house. Scott79. Mad Sexy says, finally, you joined the modern age. Got love of grandpas out there. How you doing, Buck? Mad Sexy says crystal clear. It buffers every now and then. Artac says it's 75 today where he is. You're in Tennessee, right, Artac? I think so. I was going to take that class in Camden with James Yeager at Tactical Response in July till he mentioned, you do know it's going to be hot as balls in Tennessee in July, right? So I decided to do it in May. Matter of fact, I'll be leaving here. Day present to myself is a fighting pistol class at Tactical Response. So that's what I'm going to be doing that weekend, the 15th and the 16th. I will be spending my birthday night alone at a hotel room in Camden, Tennessee. So, yay! Maybe I will try to do some kind of little road trip live stream while I'm on the way down. I'm going to have to get a good phone holder for my car because, wrecking would be bad. Okay. Yeah, we're getting some buffering in that. I don't like that. When I do the main show, I'm going to have to step this down to, yeah. And I don't know why my text is doubling up on itself there. That's kind of crazy. Let's see. I don't. Do I have?
720s. 720 is still higher than what you have been running, right?
No, I was running 720.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me just remove the text source because I'm getting tired of looking at that. That just looks horrible. Is in the house. How you doing? Like to thank, by the way, he wants to thank you, Squib, for giving him a vodka craving. Rich White hopping in. Rich White says, I wouldn't pay James Yeager for... Rich White says, I wouldn't pay James Yeager for a taco. Well, that's a good thing, because he's not selling them.
I need to get down there to Ohio and have a couple drinks with Small Caliber Arms review.
Yep. Well, hell.
I can bring the vodka.
He ain't that far from me. We might have to have a couple, the three of us. Mad Sexy says, with a new CPU, it's not you. It's your internet. Yeah, it might be. I might have to look at upgrading my internet capacity here. That sucks. Because, yeah, that sucks. I want to do a really good show, and maybe my internet just sucks so bad that I can't. Anyhow, enough bullshit. Or as Conan once said, enough talk. Let's go into the topic, which is pretty fun. By Cam Edwards, May 2nd, 2021. I know the anti-gun readership of Bearing Arms isn't all that large, but I've got a question for the few brave souls who aren't afraid to see what the other side is saying. What gun control law would have prevented this? According to an affidavit, a 14-year-old went to the area near Edge Hill basketball court to buy a gun from another juvenile who was an acquaintance. When he arrived, two other people were also there, Michael Farrell and a third juvenile. The juvenile pointed a gun at the victim and demanded his money, according to Metro Police. When the juvenile tried to grab the victim's money, he reportedly knocked the gun away and they began physically struggling over the money. Metro Police said that's when the victim was shot twice and his $600 was taken. Investigators learned Farrell may have been the only person close enough to pick up the gun and shoot the victim, who was already struggling with the other juvenile over the money. So, a 14-year-old in Nashville goes to buy a gun on the black market from another juvenile and a 19-year-old and ends up getting robbed and shot instead. Again, tell me the gun control law that would have prevented this? If we had universal background checks, do you think the illegal gun sale would never have taken place? Or maybe the 14-year-old would have been denied when the underage seller put him through a background check. Assault weapon ban? No, it was a handgun. Magazine ban? No, because the 14-year-old was shot twice. Even a six-shot revolver could have been used by the robber with the same results. Smart gun technology? Not bloody likely. There are already 400 million privately owned non-smart guns in the United States, and they're not going anywhere, even if the smart gun technology were mandated on all new gun sales. Besides, smart guns aren't so smart that they can't be hacked by even the dumbest of criminals. How about a gun buyback? Does anybody truly believe that the juvenile would have turned the gun in for a $150 gift card instead of getting $600 in cash from illegally selling the gun, didn't legally obtain it? Though police haven't said if the gun had been reported stolen. No matter how badly anti-gun activists want to believe that there's some new gun control law that we could put on the books to stop something like this from happening, the truth is that by focusing on the gun and restrictions on legal gun owners, gun control advocates ignore the actual issue. Why did this 14-year-old want a gun in the first place? Did he feel like he needed it for protection? Was he planning on using it to pick up some quick cash in a carjacking or robbery? What about the seller? Why did he think he could be so brazen as to sell a gun to a teenager in a public park at 1:30 on a Sunday afternoon? What about the shooting suspect? Why did he decide to pick up the gun and pull the trigger? Why was he willing to murder a 14-year-old over $600? Did any of the three have any previous criminal history? Are any of them currently on probation? Do they have stable home environments? Mom and dad both at home? Any physical or emotional abuse? Because two of the three individuals involved in this incident are juveniles, the public is unlikely to learn the answers to any of these questions. Sadly, we do know what's likely to happen to both the illicit gun sellers and alleged robbers and the underage buyer. Not much of anything at all. The 2 juveniles will probably get probation and maybe a short stint in juvenile detention, and he is exactly right on that, while the 19-year-old is almost certain to be offered a plea bargain that will result in a brief stay behind bars. He may even get enough credit for time served while awaiting trial that he's back on the streets as soon as he pleads guilty to a reduced charge. And then the cycle starts all over again. If we want to stop things like this from happening, we have to focus on the people involved instead of fixating on the idea of banning our way to safety. And he's exactly right. That court system and the likely outcome of this for all 3 people is going to be a mild slap on the wrist, possibly. I've seen it too many times where kids get involved in crimes with a gun, up to and including shooting each other. Within 90 days, they're out. Most of the time, even much less. Adults get plea bargained down all the time. Enough history as an adult to go to the big house over this. As far as the 2 kids, yeah, they're probably already back out on the streets, quite frankly. And that's sad. That's the problem. That's why we have these issues. But remember, folks, remember, where is it? Where is it? Dang, I don't have one ready. Oh, wait. Yes, I do. So there is a saying that exactly what I'm about to say. Gun control is never about the gun. It's always about control. They don't give 2 shits what the actual problem is, nor do they care about solving it. As a matter of fact, so that they can do whatever the hell they want. Anything substantive is going to happen to anyone involved, and do you think that they actually give a shit about solving the actual problem?
I first want to address, yes, that is a fantastic saying Squibload came up with. He is quite the poet. As for the topic, that's for when they first said about my first question that came up for me was where did the underage seller get their hands on the firearm?
I'm sure he stole
and where
it.
the heck did the underage buyer? Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. And where the heck did the underage buyer get $600? Wouldn't surprise me if that was stolen as well. So I really seriously doubt additional laws would have stopped any of this junk.
Oh, Artax says he's not in Tennessee. My bad. But you're right. No law. Name one. Name one. Just one law on the books that would have stopped this. I challenge anyone to do it. One law on the books that would have actually stopped this. Name one of the laws that they're proposing to put on the books that would have actually stopped this. Just one. Just one. I'm not going to hold my breath because I don't want to pass out. Squib, do you have an opinion on this?
I don't think this would gain a lot of traction on mainstream media unless they can spin it to push an agenda to say, see, it's about the children, right? They're underage, the children. I could just see them, using it in that fashion instead of, like you were saying, look at the underlying causes, look at what's really going on.
Yeah, if it ends up on the media, they'll pull up some, probably the kids' yearbook photos from the year before or something, before they had gang tats and everything else. That isn't that what they usually like to do? The 18, 19-year-old that's been in a gang since they were 14, so they pull up the 13-year-old yearbook photos before they had all their gang tats.
You called it. Yep, that happens all the time. Then you got the mom in front of the TV camera blubbering, going, my baby, blah, blah, blah. Well, why was your baby out doing this? Where did he get the money? Did he steal it out of your purse? Are you making sure that he's not out there dealing drugs or doing whatever? Where were you? What was going on? And I understand. You can't be around your kids 24/7, especially when they get in their teenage years. And I'm not big on the whole helicopter parent thing. I don't think that helps. But I know what my kids, are into. Once they move out of the house, I might not, but I know what my kids are into. It's really not that hard to do that and hold down a full-time job and still have time for yourself. So instead of blaming the parents, they'll probably just give the parents their 15 minutes of fame, and they'll just exploit their own child's death just to be able to say, I was on the 6 o'clock news. People are pathetic.
Well, he didn't die. He's not dead yet. So, don't throw him in the cart just yet. He's not quite dead. But I get the main thrust of what you're saying, and I agree. In my 20 years as a juvenile correction officer, I can't tell you how many times I've seen a parent complain that, I don't know what's wrong with my kids. The system failed my son. The system didn't do nothing to help him. The system. I knew I'd get fired for it, so I kept my mouth shut. But every time I want to scream, I just want to snatch that mother by her frickin' throat and scream, it's not the system that did it. It's you. You failed your kid. No one but you, because you made a series of shit decisions that ended up with your kid standing right here in front of me. So don't say the system failed. Ain't nobody failed but you.
My kids,
they can't understand that.
My kids go on social media. My kids play video games. My kids have got computers and cell phones and all that stuff, right? My kids are my kids either have attended or do attend close enough that they can walk or ride their bike. And despite the fact that some people might think that all of those things mean that I'm a bad parent, my kids do all that, have all that, live around all that, or have lived around all of that, and they're not out breaking the law. They're not out threatening other people. They're not taking away other people's life and liberty. They're not interested in a life of crime. They're not interested in any of that stuff. So, next they'll be blaming violent video games or public schools or anything, whether it be the parents doing that or the media doing that or the politicians doing that. And it really just comes back to parenting. Your kids can live a normal life and have normal things and have friends and do the things that all kids do. And you don't have to be up their ass, and you can still make sure that they know the difference between right and wrong, and they don't want to do it. It's not that they're not just that they're not doing it. They don't even have a desire to do it because you raised them right.
Roll call. Thanks for hopping in, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on? I just got home from work.
Have you heard anything about what we talked about today?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. What we're talking about is a 14-year-old in Nashville who went to the basketball court with $600 in hand to buy a gun from another juvenile who was accompanied by a 19-year-old and a third juvenile. When Juvenile A, the 14-year-old, pulled out his $600, the gun seller, quote-unquote, whipped out the gun in question and told the buyer that if he didn't give him the money, he was going to cap him. He reached for the money, the first kid knocked the gun out of his hand, and they started to struggle. The 19-year-old picked up the gun and shot the 14-year-old. So the question before the House is, what gun law would have stopped it? Any gun law on the books, would it have stopped this? Would any gun law that they're proposing now have stopped this? Would any law have stopped this?
The only law that would stop this is confiscation of every firearm in America, which will never happen. That's the only way it would happen. And to tell you the truth, I don't even think that would kind of work.
No.
Because, people aren't going to give stuff up. So, in theory, the other side would say that. But in our wisdom and wiseness of the mall, we know nothing like that would happen. Was this after school, before school, or anything?
It was on a Sunday.
nature? So it was on a Sunday.
It was 1:30 in a Sunday afternoon near the basketball court.
Well, where the hell are the parents at? You know, what is
Probably
the
still
bigger
asleep, I'll wager.
Yeah, the bigger question is what is driving these kids to do things like this? What is the main thing that has driven kids to go and get guns of this age? What is doing it? That's the bigger question. Not so much a gun law question, but what is giving them this mentality? And I think a lot of that has
garbage culture.
Yeah, a lot of that has to do with culture. Like I don't like on my channel and out in society, when I'm away from social media, I don't promote guns like rappers do. I am not Plexico Burst going to the nightclub with my gun and shooting myself in the leg. I'm carrying it responsibly. I'm not trying to act cool. Like I see a lot of people say, these guys have these guns because the junk downstairs isn't big enough, things of that nature. I carry a gun and it makes me more responsible for life. It makes me more responsible for my life and my family's life. So
I'm less likely to run my mouth because of it.
Exactly. So I
might clear my throat though.
Yeah, right. And you got to look at the parenting. You got to look at culture today. And for people that own firearms, this is another great way to get in touch with your kids, to teach them responsibility and the things that come along with firearms. If you look in today's society, when these kids, like these couple of knuckleheads, I guarantee you, no one's ever taught them from when they were younger to the age that they are now about the responsibility and the ownership of firearms. So again, I don't think anything could have prevented this. We could say a lot of things, but in the end, it comes down to parenting, in my opinion, which is pretty nil, and the explanation of what firearms are used for today. They're not supposed to be like how, remember the rat video one? Remember, that's not how you handle firearms. That's not how you display firearm ownership, by making rat videos and negligent discharging on your set. So, I mean, I think a lot of it's culture and parenting.
Well, and that's the thing, the difference between us and the people that are responsible for this are we promote gun ownership. We promote gun use. We promote the carrying of guns. I advocate that everyone who is legally allowed to do so should carry a firearm at all times. I do. But the thing is, we advocate for and promote and disseminate information on responsible gun ownership, responsible gun use, responsible gun carrying, not the thug life, violent culture, criminal mentality bullshit that these kids are subjected to every day, that their parents fell in for, that their parents glorify and are a part of, that the mass media that they consume glorifies and advocates. And it's damn sad. I mean, is it the media's fault? Partially. But mostly, it's the lack of parenting. It's the lack of a father in many, I would say most, of the homes that these kids come from. At least in my experience, in my area, the vast majority of the kids getting locked up ain't got no daddy in the house. And
I want to throw this out there for the naysayers that talk about, well, how is this the media's fault? You know why it's the media's fault on a certain speck of level? It's because they demonize these damn things. They demonize guns. They tell you they're bad, they're scary, they're awful. Oh my God, run for your life. They don't understand. They do it because they're driving a certain agenda So to retrospect for the naysayers out there, you know, that say, oh, this is not the media's fault, and especially the media would say, yes, you do. They demonize these things to make them. Guns are dangerous. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, but used in the correct and proper settings and circumstances, they're effective and they're viable.
There you go.
They're not scary. They're not something to run and hide under a cover or a mattress or anything like that. If you advocate the teaching, like the Yeti, the Eagle program that the NRA was running, and just the education like we see in the southern states.
Run away, tell an adult.
Yeah,
it's so simple, even I can remember it. I don't have to use notes to get it.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of things that could get thrown into this scenario. We need the media to stop acting like this is just, oh my gosh, the sky is falling kind of concepts, and start really advocating and teaching kids. Yes, guns are dangerous, but using the proper circumstances and settings, it's viable options here. And they don't do that. And now you have a kid who doesn't know the repercussion of what he just did until, guess what? Budget knows about this until they get into the courtroom, and then they go to jail or they go to the juvenile hall.
Listen, roll call, they don't even know the repercussions of it then, because the repercussions of it are nothing. They get treated with kid gloves, no pun intended. They get the slap on their wrist and they're back next week. You know, it's a revolving door, and they learn nothing. Once in a while, you'll get one or two that'll learn something, and those are the ones that you treasure. Matter of fact, just yesterday, or was it this morning? No, it was yesterday. I made a post about National Correction Officers Week, which, by the way, this is National Correction Officers Week, so I want to give a shout out to all my brothers and sisters in gray that go behind the wall every day and stand between you and the scum of the earth. You know, keep your heads on a swivel, folks. Stay safe and make sure that you hit the gate and get to go home at the end of your shift. Anyhow, shit, I forgot what I was going to say. Anyhow, you know, these kids don't learn a damn thing.
Your post,
what's that?
On your post, on your Corrections Officer Week post.
Actually, on that post, there was a kid that I had. He's on my friends list on Facebook that I'd had, 15 years ago, 16 years ago, and he's not a kid anymore. He's a grown-ass man. But he mentioned that, the stuff that I did to help him helped him. And he was able to get his life turned around, and he's thankful for the time that he spent with us. As I said, every once in a while, you'll get one of those. And that makes doing the job worth it if you're working with kids. Now, if you're working with adults, good luck to you, because they're pretty much gone by then. But, but by and large, the vast majority of kids that get processed through the system, they graduate to the adult system, and they continue getting processed through that one too for the rest of their lives. It's sad, but our justice system does not educate these kids on anything. It doesn't work. And I say that, having been part of the system for 20 years, it don't work. By and large, there are exceptions, but the vast majority in one ear, right out the other. Time and time again.
And I want to throw this out for the other naysayers, because I've had a lot of naysayers on my videos today talking smack. I have a lot of skin in the game of firearms. Not only that, my daughter and my daughter's mom came to me, and she wants to carry a firearm because she's going off to college. I have skin in this game, and she's the same age this little jackhole was that prompted this. She's going to be 19 years old, and she wants to carry a firearm. And again, I've taught these kids from the time they started shooting about responsibility for a firearm. And I really instilled it into my daughter about the responsibility to carry a gun. You know, unfortunately, don't take that stuff to the campus, things of that nature, the laws for the state of Indiana. So, I mean, I have a lot of skin in this game, just like everybody else does for firearms. It's just not about the freedoms, but it's about the teaching and the guidance experience that comes along with the Second Amendment that's also important.
Mad Sexy wants to know, says, let's say if this was your kid, what red flags would you be looking for? What steps would you take to prevent this? Be involved.
You know,
be there. That is the biggest thing you can do. Be there, know what your kids are doing. Know who they hang out with, know where they're going. I'm not saying be what Squid referred to earlier as the helicopter parent. That's not what I'm saying at all. But start young, be involved. That's the and you know, be part of your kid's life. Teach them right from wrong. Don't let Blue's Clues and friggin' Dora the Explorer and the Xbox and the internet raise your kids. You raise your kids. That is the number one most important thing you can do as a parent to prevent your kid from ending up shot while he's trying to buy a stolen gun on a basketball court. Flat out.
But I think people mistake what you're saying with that. I want to be real clear. I want to be specific here. You're saying don't let these things raise your kids, but you're not saying don't let your kids see this stuff.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Correct.
Because there are those out there who say this is because of first-person shooter video games, and I strongly disagree. My kids play that garbage. It's boring as hell. Why they play it, I don't know. But they don't go out and do that stuff. They don't. Okay, so your kids can watch cable TV. They can watch YouTube. They can play Call of Duty or whatever. They can have the latest iPhone. And when the next one comes out, you can buy them that too. They can do this. They can do that. But as long as you're involved, that stuff is just something that's a part of their life that you're aware of. You know, when they're little, you're sitting there watching cartoons with them, and you get to watch cartoons all over again. You have an excuse as an adult to watch cartoons. When they get older, some of that stuff might be a little bit more difficult to understand. But think about how our parents thought we dressed funny or wore our hair funny or watched stupid stuff on TV or our comic books are stupid or whatever it was. And stop and think for a minute. And you don't have to be up your kid's ass, but it's not really that hard to be aware of who their friends are, where they're at, or what's going on. But now I was thinking about a couple things as you guys were all talking. And one is my kid at 14 wouldn't have to take $600 and go down to the park and buy a gun because he already has guns. Okay. And, you know, it's just something where maybe that's the reason my kids aren't out committing crime is because they don't need to. They get good grades in school. They get a gun for it. They do what they're told. They get a gun for it. Christmas roll around. They've been good. Santa Claus brings them a new gun. All right.
Gun for you.
And they know
gun for
how to
you. Gun for you. Gun for everybody.
And they know how to use
do I
them.
need to give you my address?
I need to be adopted.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to adopt some more kids here. But the thing, hey, I hope you guys are good at mowing the yard and cleaning up dog shit. But the whole thing is,
I'm out.
They know that those things are locked in Dad's safe, and Dad's the only one with the combination. And the only way they can get them is to ask for them. And while they handle them, if they want to see them, I let them out, and I don't just let them run off with it. And it's not really that hard to do. And it's not like the kids are asking every day, let me see. This is common sense stuff. But maybe your kid won't be buying a gun from some stranger on the street and getting shot at 14 if they earn a gun, not just hand it to them and here, kid, you need to. No, it's locked in your safe. If you're a parent, I'm not saying that you have to have a safe, but as a fellow parent, I'm recommending it. You know, if you don't have kids, it's a whole different thing. And, you know, another thing about that too is that it's the perception. Your kid has guns? Yeah. And they're under lock and key. I take care, and the kids don't have access to them. Nobody can get to them but me. And we go out as a family and we shoot together, and they know firearm safety. You know, it's maybe you don't run around and tell every parent, but I was on one show once where somebody said it might be a good idea if you let the other parents know that when their kid spends the night at your house that you have guns in the house, but they're locked up. Or don't take your guns out and show any of your kids' friends because they're going to go and, hey, his dad brought out a, so use some common sense, use your head, think before you act. And this sets a good example for your kids. Another thing is a failure in the system, not necessarily just with the juvenile system, but with the family law system. There are fathers who want to be in their children's lives. They want to balance out the other half. They want to be involved. And there are liberal judges and liberal referees and liberal magistrates and all kinds of people in the family law system that shut these men out of their kids' lives. And they end up raised by the ex-wife's deadbeat boyfriend. In addition to that, even when the father is allowed to be in their kid's life, it's for a very limited amount of time. And he's working so much to pay all of his bills and pay child support, which is nothing more than backdoor alimony, that it's really difficult to have the energy and the time with what little bit you get in order to spend with your kids. There's another failure in the system. Overhaul that system and let dads be involved. All right, I'm done ranting.
It's all right.
That was a good rant.
Buck says you can be your kid's friend, but sometimes you have to be the parent also. I would say that's, you can be their friend, but mostly you got to be their parent. And that's...
Nope, I've told my kids they will never be my friends. Even when they're old enough to drink with me, well, one of them will be here soon. No. They're never. That's your choice. I'm not going to tell you how to parent. I might advise getting a say for something. And if that's, but for me, they will never be my friends. They will always be my kids, even when they're adults and I'm talking to them like adults and everything else. I think that is part of the problem is you have some of these parents that when they split up, the one with custody tries to be their friend because they're trying to get the kid to get along with them. And you've got the other one that only spends a little bit of time with them trying to be their friend because they don't want any negative memories or any negativity in that little bit of time that the court allows them to have. Maybe if there was a way to balance that out, the parents could be parents instead of trying to be friends, because your friends are going to let you get away with murder and your parents are going to hold you accountable.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, folks, we are going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Although I do want to point out to Small Caliber Arms Review, I know someone out there was talking about gun buybacks, and in Canton, Ohio, on May 15th, downtown at the Civic Center parking lot, they're going to be doing a gun buyback, $100 gift card for operable firearms. And had I not been going to go to Tennessee to Tactical Response to take a class, Mike was going to make quite a few slam-fire shotguns and show up early. And then stand outside with a few friends and a pocket full of cash and offer cash for guns instead of gift cards. So an enterprising individual on May 15th in Canton, Ohio might want to do that. Just saying. This whole thing is just a sad situation where a 14-year-old kid was out trying to buy a gun illegally and got robbed by his acquaintance and associate. It's a societal issue, people. It's a culture issue. It's a parenting issue. The one thing that it most absolutely, positively, with a 100% degree of certainty is not, is a gun issue. Let's stop treating it as such, folks. I want to thank my esteemed panel for being here and offering their opinions on the subject. Squib, is there anything you would like to leave us with? Anything you would like to plug?
Thank you for letting me get on my parenting and family law soapbox. Other than that, no, thanks for doing the single shot and just giving us all an opportunity to, talk about things and just bringing things to people's attention.
Hey, man, that's what I do. That's what I do here. Roll call. Thanks for coming in, buddy. Is there anything you would like to leave us with as far as words of wisdom go? Anything you would like to plug?
Education for firearms is critical. I can't explain that any further, but I'm not going to sit here and dog in people's parenting. I'm just going to say, make these kids alive. You know, make them feel the responsibilities that come with firearms. Thank you for having me join today. Sorry I'm late again. Work is it's still nutty. Schedule's all crazy. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter, and you can also follow me here on YouTube. I will be premiering a video of the J.M. Davis Museum. It's the world's largest private collection of firearms. I'll be premiering that here in a few. I just got that perk since we went over 800. We're at about 850. They gave me that premiere perk. So the more subscribers I get, the more perks open up for the channel. I want to thank everybody that's a subscriber, new and old, and I greatly do appreciate it. And Wednesday nights, 9:30, 10-ish, whenever my internet wants to work, we will be doing rants and raves this week.
Central.
That's central. That's central, the real time where everybody revolves around it.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Read between the lines, pal. You can revolve on that. Anyhow, last but most certainly not least, we have the one, the only, the sourpuss himself, the Tactical Pickle, Calaveras 32 Special. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with, sir?
I just want to say thank you for having me on. You know, basically for the last almost month now, your shows have been the only thing I've really been having up on, online. I've been so dang busy, I haven't had a chance to, do any editing on my own content. But so definitely thank you for keeping me involved, and it's always fun to be on the show.
And it's always fun to have you. I'm going to say this, folks. First, though, I'm going to make my commercial self-promotion whorish plugs, so bear with me. You guys obviously know who I am and where to find me. I've got some new stuff coming out soon. Make sure to be around at 6 o'clock on Wednesday for my Woodsman Wednesday video premiere. I'm doing that every week. And, of course, you get to watch the video after that, but, come hang out and text chat with us anyway while this thing's going on. Also like to let you guys know that I will be opening up channel memberships soon here on YouTube. I've got the Patreon thing, but YouTube channel memberships, kind of badges and whatnot to use during the live chats and stuff like that. When I put the video out, go ahead and watch that, and you'll see how to go join up for that. I don't have that active yet, but it's coming. I also have some gun reviews finally starting to come out. I'm planning to go film a bunch of them every week. I have filmed a bunch of them this past week, yesterday, as a matter of fact. I have a lot of editing to do. We've got a Ruger P-Series pistols history and review coming up, and Winchester Wildcat versus Ruger 1022. So those two videos should be interesting. As far as the topic tonight, pay attention to the kids. Know what they're up to. Know what they're doing. Know who they're with. Know if they're going stupid places at stupid times with stupid people doing stupid things. Because if they're doing those things, they're going to get stupid results. Like this kid did here that we're talking about today. So with that in mind, folks, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching the show tonight and being part of the conversation. I didn't really get into anything political with this. I usually do. But I'm still going to tell you the same thing I always do. Make sure that you let your Congress critters, elected representatives know what you think. Send them a snail mail, email, telephone, telegraph, carrier pigeon, smoke signals, heliograph, bicycle messengers, whatever you have to do to let them know what you think, and never, ever, ever give up that fight. Talk to you guys later.